All right, so it's Wednesday, which means the weekend is around the corner. But today, we continue a conversation that has sparked strong reactions across the country, and that is the ban on sachet alcohol. The debate is not slowing down, ladies and gentlemen. Supporters see it as a necessary public health intervention, while others worry about the ripple effects on small businesses, on jobs, and on consumer choice. Now, this morning, a renewed focus on the health concerns surrounding alcohol in Nigeria and the behaviors and what must be done to change behaviors when it comes to not just alcohol abuse, but substance abuse in Nigeria. Our guest is someone who not only talks the talks, he has walked the line of substance abuse, but is now a therapist, substance abuse recovery coach, and one of the most vocal voices against alcohol harm in Nigeria. That conversation we will have shortly, but first, the United States Department of Homeland Security, that's DHS, has announced that 79 Nigerian nationals are to be deported to Nigeria after being placed on what U.S. immigration authorities call the worst of the worst, and that's in quote, criminal offenders list. Now, these are not immigration violators or people found living there after their papers expired. According to DHS and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, their offenses include fraud-related crimes such as wire fraud, identity theft, and money laundering. Violent and sexual crimes, including aggravated assault involving firearms, rape, sex offenses against minors, kidnapping, and murder of manslaughter. Drug trafficking also is part of it, and then smuggling offenses, including robbery. Now, the full list of the 73 men and 6 women to be deported is currently on the screen, and, looking at their charges, it makes it clear that these are not petty charges at all. Okay, so here's the part many people wonder about. Have they finished serving their sentences, or will they continue serving in Nigeria after their deportation? The individuals on this list have already been found guilty in the United States courts of the crimes they're accused of. That means they have typically served or are serving prison sentences under U.S. jurisdiction, or they are being held after completing a sentence and are now in immigration custody awaiting removal proceedings. In U.S. immigration law, a deportation order usually comes after criminal proceedings and sentences are served, or immigration judges determine they must be removed. So these Nigerians will be transferred from criminal custody to immigration detention to go through formal deportation processes before actually being flown home.
Typically, Nigeria does not re-prosecute someone for a crime already convicted abroad because that would be what we call double jeopardy or double punishment for the same act. However, if there are outstanding Nigerian criminal cases against them, Nigerian law enforcement can then prosecute. Or if they possibly have outstanding warrants or unfinished sentences in Nigeria, then those can be enforced. Otherwise, when they arrive, they're usually processed by Nigerian immigration law and law enforcement and released if there are no local charges. There is no blanket rule that they will serve new jail term or new jail time when they get here because they were deported. This is the standard practice globally, unless bilateral treaties or specific laws say otherwise. There is not yet any statement from the Nigerian government on what will happen to the criminal deportees when they return. With some of them being violent criminals, what does that mean for our society and safety? Or what should we expect of such? Those are the things that we need to put our minds to. But you know that when it concerns something this important and very, this is not something we should take with levity at all. Nigerians definitely will have reactions. So we're going to take some of the reactions before we talk about it on the table.
All right, let's see some reactions. We have this from Chuka. He said, you left Nigeria and now in the USA doing crime. The USA, some people just don't know how to focus. Is traffic offense and drunk driving criminal acts. Deporting someone for these kinds of offenses, which to me seems like a civil offense, screams racism, and that's from AA Possible. Key says this is serious, but context matters. So if the focus is truly on people with violent and major criminal convictions, then that's law enforcement doing its job and not a blanket attack on Nigerians. Still, it is painful seeing our name trend globally for the wrong reasons. It also shows how important legal status, clean records, and representation abroad really are. One person's crime should not stain millions doing honest work.
Indeed.
Look at the list critically. You'll see why these people are spoiling the market for us. Some of us are being rejected just by our names because of what others have done. Imagine coming back after many years living abroad to meet this government that has successfully made life hard for those that cannot afford to japa. Better plead for them to send you all to prison down there, because starting all over here will be suicidal. Beyond the headlines, this is another reminder. Choices made abroad still follow you home. Many people leave Nigeria chasing better opportunities only to lose everything because of one wrong decision. Okay, whether we like it or not, please tell me that I'm not the only one that when I was looking through, I was saying, who do I know among...
I was trying so hard.
Looking at it,
I just look at I just hope I don't know anyone.
Man, people I know not disgrace me. So I think Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians are looking through the list who passed, who failed, who is. So having said that, our bad behavior, I keep saying it, bad behavior as people, this, whether we like it or not, Nigeria is not a country that holds people accountable to their actions. So if you carry your bad behavior to a country like the US that has zero tolerance or very minimal tolerance for bad behavior, and you are called out like this, and if you're called out like this, you have to face the music. They are coming home.
Yeah.
My own is when they come home, are they now going to found an association? They're going to come together as association
and continue what they're doing, change their ways.
This is fertile ground for them to just keep being badly behaved.
Do you know that some of this list is what is going to explain to some family members what is really happening to these people? Do you know many of them like have been incommunicado?
Yes.
A lot of people, they might have spouses here that just don't know their whereabouts. I've heard stories of people say, oh, they went abroad and after some years I just didn't hear from them anymore. And you will just be surprised that some of them are serving prison sentences. And now they are going to be commuting them home. They're going to be deporting them. But the true issue now is that if they don't have any outstanding criminal charges against them in Nigeria, and they finish their sentence abroad, I don't think anybody will hold them. It'll just be an immigration thing. They'll just deport them and they will find their way back to their homes, quietly licking their wounds and hoping that they have changed. Because some of the crimes are quite, you know, weighty. We have things like identity fraud,
identity theft,
we have fraud,
allegations, sexual allegations as well, rape, firearms,
Are we
and
really
all that.
surprised though?
So I wanted to tell you that, you know, if you actually think that these people, you know, with these weighty allegations coming back to Nigeria with nothing to their name, will come back home and live a quiet and peaceful life, then I think you have something else, you know, because this is like a whole crew. They're like a group. So the major reason for them leaving Nigeria to the US in the first place is probably, you know, fertile soil, green pastures, better opportunities and all that. So them coming back, it's going to even be in a larger scale. And who is to say that they will not end up recruiting more people?
Well, see, I get where you're coming from, and I get where Lola is coming from. But truth is that thing they say you're a village people do you is true. Because I don't know how you can spend that money and jackpot, or you left the country during a time and a system where things were not this bad, and you still managed to mess it up for yourself there. Identity fraud, whatever fraud. I'm not surprised. This is where most Nigerians are at the front burner with these crimes. We know that. It doesn't mean that we are the only ones in Africa that are responsible for these things, but it's just that our own just happens to always be the loudest. Now, we have gone there and shown our true color. America says, okay, you know what, come back home.
Pack your bags and baggages and go.
Some, Lola was right. Some family members don't know, or probably haven't heard from their children and they will struggle when they come home.
Oh, they will definitely struggle.
They will struggle without a doubt. And it will shock you that they will still some of them will still find a way to want to go back.
Well, you'd be surprised.
So you said after spending so much money, who is to say that they even spent some money at all? Because I want to say that just like some other, vices, how, you take people from a country and move them to another country to do stuff. I don't want to actually call that name.
Yeah.
It happens to them as well. They get a sponsor and the person sponsors them to the US. And why? So that they require them to do this in order to work and pay and all that.
So some of these mature people I've seen in these kinds of
a few of them might be innocent.
Yes, we know that
might be innocent.
We know that a lot of but Nigerians abroad seem to be at the center front of some particular kind of crimes, like fraud. And whether we like it or not, this is like a stain on our person too. Because if they're talking about and putting us in list of people, they are the countries that does this in a negative light, you would definitely see Nigerians there prominently, and this kind of blows back on us that as a people. I just keep wondering that why would we choose crime? You are in a place, you left a country that you said was hard enough. You get an opportunity to go to a better country where you supposedly believe that things are working better for you, and you didn't see any other legitimate thing to do but to commit crime. Look at that doctor that was prosecuted here and found not guilty, what would we say? Went just to UK, just 6 hours flight away, to go and do the same thing again. Would you not think that, was he not stressed out from all the legal proceedings he went through, the disgrace, the backwardness?
It's a different climb, you understand? And this reminds me of, a documentary that just came out a few days ago, Nigerian Prince Kama or something, and I'm actually thinking of watching it because it's everywhere. They did their investigations, came to Nigeria, found the guy and everything. So just I'll make sure that I have the exact title, to give to you. But what I'm even trying to say again is this is crazy, because even right now, those who if you travel away from Nigeria, if you go abroad, those who like Nigerians, when you tell them you are Nigerian, they tell you, oh, I love your people, they're very, very determined, they push themselves, they do this. But those that don't like you will tell you, oh, the land of scammers.
Yeah, of course.
That's the first thing. That's the first thing.
You know, I have a friend, her name is Shiva, she lives in New York, and she loves Nigeria. And of course, I know that she's been dating this Nigerian guy for a long time. She's a fan of Jennifer's Diary, so I've known her for more than 7-8 years. And she talks to me about everything. The last time we spoke, she said, oh, the Nigerian guy had married someone else. And she had been waiting for him. That she didn't want to come to Nigeria, but she was willing to go and meet him in the UK. And I'm like, this is somebody that truly loves Nigerians. And yet Nigerians will do the same to them. I had a friend too, Aya, that came to Nigeria. I don't know if I gisted Catherine about that time. That when I saw the guy she said she was dating, I could see all the signs. I remember that year, Valentine, she asked me to help her deliver some Valentine gift. When we delivered to the guy, we could see that this one has come.
Nigeria is happening to them.
Nigeria is happening to this girl. But when it comes to those things, you have to, women, when it's love, you have to just allow everything come together. And by the time it came together for her, he didn't even come together for her in Nigeria. She packed her bags and baggages and followed the guy to some dingy country in Europe. And that guy cleared her out. Totally wiped her out. She left with the cloth on her back to the US. So these things that happen,
people like this that Nigerians are good people.
Good people.
It probably will not change her perspective of Nigerians in general, because she has experienced many more people who will not, in fairness, be blamed for one person's bad behavior toward her.
But how about 73 people's bad behavior?
I'm looking forward to having this conversation again on Jasiri, because it's not ending here. When our brothers come back, I just was happy there's
you
no
want to grab them interview?
There's no, I just look and say there's no Calabar man there.
No Calabar man,
I was looking.
I've seen a lot of Yoruba people there. Let's go on the break, we'll be back. Welcome again. Thank you for staying tuned to us on Jasiri at News Central TV. In our previous conversation on the sachet alcohol ban, we examined Nigeria's drinking culture, the pathway into alcohol use, and the very real harm it can cause. Today, we take the conversation a step further, beyond the announcement of the ban, to explore what it will actually take to reduce alcohol harm in this country. Because policies alone do not change behavior. Awareness does. Support systems do. Cultural shifts do. So if Nigeria is serious about protecting young people and reducing alcohol-related damage, what must follow these bans? We're joined in the studio this time in person by David Folaranmi, Chairman, Board of Trustees of the Association of Advocates Against Alcohol Harm in Nigeria. He's also a substance abuse recovery coach, mental health advocate, and therapist. So, David, it's so good to see you in person.
Thank you very much.
We have been hailing him off the camera.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so let's take a look at what research says. It says that when alcohol becomes cheaper and easier to access, it often lowers the barrier to experimentation, especially for young people. But if it is that access is restricted, does it actually change behavior? Or do the deeper drivers of substance use remain? So, David, for someone who's worked directly with people who are navigating their recovery process and addiction, how much does easy access to these substances influence the decision to start or to continue drinking?
Okay, so availability leads to an increase in consumption of alcohol.
So if it's not available, Uncle?
It's going to decrease, definitely. It's going to decrease because if it's not there, then you can't consume it. Of course, there are other factors. But I was going to get to that. There are other factors we need to put in place when we say availability leads to a decrease, an increase in consumption of alcohol. There are other factors that need to be put in place. However, we've seen that in a controlled environment, when you take out the alcohol and it's not available, then you can't consume it. Of course, like I said, there need to be other factors you're going to put into the mix to ensure that you get the result you want of a decreased use of alcohol intake. But research has shown that when you take out availability, it decreases the risk. And also the early initiation into use, first-time use. So once it's not available, first-time use will not occur.
Okay, I get that one. It makes sense.
All right, I actually wish you could actually go deeper because just as Catherine has actually said, when alcohol is no longer as convenient or even as cheap as it should be, or the ban is in full effect and it's unavailable, does that typically create, a pause for reflection, especially for those who are used to it, or does it make them go and look for something else, an alternative?
Excellent. So in the short run, it creates a pause for reflection, right? So I'm used to buying this thing from this place, and I come out one morning and it's not there anymore. It's going to make me think, it's not there, what do I do? So there's this moment of clarity that you are exposed to that makes you say, okay, this thing is not there, but then I still have the urge, there's still the craving to get something to replace that alcohol I used to consume. So if you look at the situation in the far north, which I've done a lot of work in terms of prevention, we've seen that because alcohol is not readily embraced over there, they have gotten alternatives. Yes, and some of the alternatives are even more dangerous than the alcohol.
Exactly.
That is what gave birth to the rise of the codeine addiction. Because they say in our religion, alcohol is not allowed. It's haram. It's a taboo. So let's take something else that is not alcohol. And they started consuming codeine, retinol, tramadol, and other very harmful substances. So eventually, to answer your question, people who are already struggling with an addiction or a disorder will look for alternatives.
Just before Lolo comes there, I just wanted to add, in my time in the north, I've seen people who have actually gone to sniff gutter.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Gutter or paint.
Gum.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've heard gum. I've heard
gum.
some even takes septic tanks.
Septic tanks.
Okay, hold on.
It's just crazy.
Paint got me. Paint.
Yeah. Oh
paint.
yes,
Yes,
the smell of it.
Yes, the smell of it.
What does it do, please?
It intoxicates.
Yeah.
Yes, it gets you high.
It's a momentary high. Let's even look at it again, that beyond availability.
Yeah.
Because we're talking availability, we know that that's like easy access to these things. what are the real emotional and maybe psychological triggers that often sit, you know, beneath the alcohol, harmful alcohol use? Because a lot of people don't understand how addiction works. What are the emotional triggers? What are psychological triggers, you know, that are underneath the use of this excessive
alcohol use?
Yeah. So some people just think, oh, I just like the taste of it. Social drinkers would just say it's just like for fashion, it's just social gatherings. I wouldn't seek alcohol out on my own. But when I hear alcohol, harmful alcohol use, I know it's not just about feeling good. There must be other things that make it an addiction.
Okay, so I'll start from where you stopped. The social perception. The social and cultural normalization, of acceptance, glamorizing of alcohol consumption in our country is terrible. So you have birthday ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, burial ceremonies, naming ceremonies that you serve alcohol. Must there be alcohol there? So it has become culturally acceptable. It has become a social thing that you want to organize a get-together. If you don't have crates and stacks of alcohol there, you have not ticked all the boxes. So that's the first one. Then the second one, we have poor role modeling. Yes, because the young people weren't born drinking alcohol. But then you have people that grow up with parents, uncles, teachers, guardians, who see them use alcohol all the time. Let me give you a story. 2 years ago, I was teaching in a school, conducting a prevention program in a school here in Lagos. And 3 young girls walked up to me when they were done. The moment I saw one of them, I knew she was on substances. And she began crying. What's the problem? She said she's using cocaine. I said, how old are you? She said she's 14.
Where did she get it?
How? Where did she get that?
Hold on. So how long has this started? She said, just a couple of years. I said, well, how did it start? She said, a couple of years ago, she walked into her dad's closet and saw a bottle of Hennessy. And she started drinking it because she used to see her dad drinking it. So that's poor role modeling. And the father was not even around to control what she was doing.
Or to even lock the cupboard.
Or to even lock the cupboard. And then it started from drinking alcohol to marijuana, and then she started struggling with cocaine, and eventually went further to do several tests on her, found out she's already having a bad kidney. She had to be flown to India. So you see, poor role modeling, acceptance socially and culturally. I'll give you another story. I have quite a number of stories. A man came to our facility, our rehabilitation facility, to see his son. And he snuck sachet alcohol inside the cooler of rice he brought. But then because we have eagle eye staff who will always search, they had to dig in, and then they found 2 sachets of alcohol. His own son. And he said, he got angry and said, in his place, alcohol is not a taboo. So why is your son in rehab?
Exactly.
Your son in rehab.
I don't understand.
So you see, there's the acceptance, there's the mindset that it's okay. And we have to correct that. We really do need to correct that. That's where all of this should start.
Okay, so in moving to correct this, so the NAFDAC, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration, are looking to enforce a total ban ban on the production and sale of alcoholic beverages in sachets, small PET bottles, and glass bottles below 200 ml.
Excuse me.
So look at this policy, for example. Do you think policies like this can interrupt the pathway into addiction, particularly for young or first-time users, and for those already struggling with dependence? Does restricting access help them, or does it sometimes complicate recovery?
Okay, so again, in the short run...
Someone said, we don't have a problem with policies, it's the implementation.
The implementation and the enforcement. So again, in the short run, it will help certain people.
In the short run.
In the short run. But in the long run, if other factors are not brought into play, like education, awareness, enforcement, implementation, this is going to be a waste of time, of everybody's time. As Chairman, Board of Trustees of the Advocates Against Alcohol Harm in Nigeria, we have engaged the NAFDAC DG quite a number of times and the Federal Ministry of Health to come up with an alcohol policy in Nigeria that I know will save millions of lives. But like I said, there's so many other factors that need to be put in place. We need to dig deep, to say from the grassroots, we have to educate again, create the awareness again. A lot of people don't even understand why we are saying there should be a ban on sachet alcohol. They don't. Like the videos you played last week when people were complaining bitterly about it. So the second part of the question asks if it's going to just create an avenue for them to look for something else. Yes, and that could also be the fear. That could also be the fear. When codeine was banned, how much was a bottle of codeine at the time?
200, 500.
How much is codeine now? 16,000.
Wow.
In Abuja, at least. 16,000. And it is still sold. So our fear is that if this is not done properly, what we're going to experience is that sachet alcohol will become 5,000 instead of 200 or 300. Yes.
And people
and there are also other
alternatives
besides codeine.
Yes, and then of course there are other
newer ones.
Yeah.
Now, I know earlier you did talk about a pause for reflection for some of these people, and you said you do have, a lot of stories and all that. I'm wondering, in your work, have you seen moments where a barrier, whether financial, physical, or even social, helped someone reconsider their relationship with alcohol?
Quite a number of times, yes.
Please, just chew on that for a bit,
Okay, just before that.
Let's quickly take a short break. When we return, Jasiri continues and we'll ask you to answer that question. We'll be right back.
Welcome again. So many questions we've been, asking our guests today, David. But before we went on that break, Dashin was asking a question.
Yeah, but I wanted you to give us, a few examples, in your line of work, if there have been moments where some of the barriers that I mentioned, financial, social, were able to help someone reconsider, their alcohol intake or their relationship with alcohol.
Okay, so we've seen instances where, for instance, there's a barrier on finances, because accessibility, availability, affordability, all of these things need to be put in place for a person to continue to fuel that addiction, right? So I've seen people where lack of finance made them to have a rethink on some of these behaviors. They've had a rethink. I've seen them quite a number of times. Other social factors as well. When they've been disintegrated from the community, their families, they've been ostracized. Yeah. That's a social factor. And this has made them to sit down and think. But
and were they able to maintain it?
Yes, I have seen. That's what I was going to say, that these are isolated cases. It's probably 1 or 2% of all of the people I've come across. Usually you need other interventions to help them to maintain that in the long run. But yes, to answer your question, I've seen a few people who have been able to break out because of some of these factors you mentioned.
Yeah, when it comes to these things, like I was just saying that maybe because I have seen addiction very close. And I know how it looks as if it's not harmful in the beginning. So I want to know that, how do you differentiate between experimentation and when it now turns to harm? Because sometimes they'll say a glass of alcohol will probably not do you in, or an occasional binge here and there. But how do you know, or how does it get to that point that you can't stop and it becomes something that, you are addicted to? Because I maybe I've seen alcohol abuse in my own family. I've seen higher substance abuse, and that's what I tell my children. I said, see, that means you are susceptible to some of these things. So we don't even experiment, because I tell them that stopping is different for different people. Some people might be able to come out of an addiction quicker than some, but you don't know how your own journey will be. So it's better you don't start at all. But how does a harmful once in a while drinking doesn't affect anything? How does it become an addiction?
Okay, so we'll talk about personal vulnerabilities. So like you have already mentioned, it's different with different people. You put two people here, they have the same. I had a story again. I was invited to a case where twins, a brother and a sister, drink alcohol. But then the brother was suffering from an alcohol disorder already. And the twin sister was getting upset. She kept saying, we drink the same thing. How is it you're sleeping in the gutter, you don't come home, you can't do work.
You can't control yourself.
It is his personality type. They may be twins, but they are built differently. Their psychological composition is different. The way they'll react to alcohol is different. Their body mass index is different. All of these things will make them have different reactions to alcohol. So, depending on the person, you can move from experimentation very quickly to addiction, or alcohol disorder. And then how do you know a person has moved from point A, which is experimentation, to alcoholism, full-blown alcoholism, when you don't have control over your life anymore? You can't conduct regular daily activities, you know, and then you get to a point where you need alcohol to help you rest, relax, ease off stress. You need alcohol to help you function, then there's a problem. You need alcohol to help you sleep, then there is a problem. You know, so immediately that starts happening, and you start saying to yourself, I can stop on my own. Now, only you're the one talking to yourself now. I can stop on my own, but you find out that you're still drinking, then you have a problem. It has graduated to a problem.
Well, many experts, you know, argue that without education, regulation becomes a temporary fix rather than lasting change. Now, David, before we look at the education gap when it comes to alcohol consumption in Nigeria, we hit the streets to find out what Nigerians think of the ban. Now, here is Jasiri on the streets.
I don't support government buying sachet alcohol. That's the only brand people could afford. Bottles of beer are expensive, let alone the spirits and wine. Much dear and costly. If they ban sachet alcohol, people are going to protest.
I really support the government banning such because it's really endangering people's life. And we have so many of it out there. We have the good ones, the ones that are not, you know, from the company.
You know, little children, they don't have control over some of the things that they take. Sometimes when they take this alcohol, they misbehave, they go into all kinds of promiscuity. Some of them even commit suicide. That is why you see a lot of social vices in our country today. So whatever the government is thinking of doing or is already doing, I believe is for the general good of the youths and the children and Nigerians.
It will actually protect our youths because instead of them wasting their money on something irrelevant, they actually use their money for something reasonable.
It is going to affect the livelihood of the sellers, the users, everybody. It's cut across.
Even though some people will say that it's going to affect their livelihood because that is where they make their money from and all of that. But my message to Nigerians is that it's better that people should regulate the way they take alcohol.
If we look at it very well, we have so many people selling this sachet alcoholic drink. So if the government bans it, I think it's going to bring down so many businesses down. To me, I feel they should ban everything alcohol. And the reason is it's not really good. You know, we have so many people taking too much of this alcohol drink. And when they keep taking it, it's just really bad for them. The government should at least help them in, you know, when they collect these things from them, they render them, you know, jobless. We have some people that goes there very early in the morning, goes to, you know, goes outside to try and sell. So I believe they should help them with some funds and get another business doing.
I think government should look for something else to give to those people that are working in those companies. Like they should create another job opportunities for them, or they can actually use their company to maybe make something healthy for people instead of just leaving those people that they were actually involved in the alcohol stuff.
I think the government should support them in many ways. Well, I can't say because, you know, we are saying this, but it depends on what they want to do. That's the government themselves. Even if they ban these people, there are many things they've done that I don't think support comes. If they can support people, I believe people would work on doing what is right. If they can share a helping hand to make job easier for people that are selling. Because I know it's because there is no work. That's why you see some people do what they're not expected to do.
People that they tell us say they don't ban alcohol, but we beg our government making they no ban our drink because now they use take care of my baby, use and shop. Me where I did like this, I no get husband. Now me be husband, now me be pikin. Make it beg our government make it no ban alcohol because now they use shop take care of my baby. I beg.
Oh, well, there you have it. That was Jasiri on the street. So, David, what do you think about the responses from these?
So I have to put myself in their shoes. You heard somebody say, for instance, I don't have anything else to sell. Yeah. This is all I have. And then you wake up one morning and the government says, I'm going to take this away from you. So we have to look at it from both sides of the coin. What I would have expected our government to do was to create long-term awareness on this. Right? Before implementing or before coming up with the ban.
Yeah.
You know how the tax thing is? We've been hearing since last year. Do you remember when BVN was going to come out? They kept on making noise about it. So they should have given ample time.
Okay.
You know, they should have gone into the streets, told these people that, look, a time is coming, which is very soon, where we're going to ban this. And these are the reasons. And also we had some people say it's a ban on alcohol. It's not a ban on alcohol. No. Nobody's asking for a ban on alcohol. It's to create regulatory measures, you know, so that we can reduce the harm alcohol is causing.
You know, David, I was listening to one of them and I heard that woman that sells it. She says, oh, this is how I take care of my family. This is how I take care of my baby. But do you think Nigerians really understand the health risks linked to alcohol? Or we still have a lot of awareness to do, because you can see that they are not talking from a point of the implication. That woman selling alcohol, can she drink it on her own? Or can she allow her husband consume it? Or can she give it to her baby? I don't think they really understand if you tell me that this thing is killing, can kill someone.
I get it.
Would I want to continue selling something that kills someone?
You are a peddler. You sell cocaine, but yet you don't use it. So you that is selling it to people, you don't know the implication. If you were that sure of what, are you using it? Is your family member using it? So that's where your
mom will say, "Don't go about that, Eloju, that means if your juju is really working, if you trust it, then if you say you did something that will not make bullets to enter someone, then you should eat it first, then tell them to shoot you, so that you can show people that, yes, my juju works.
So first of all, I don't think they understand the health implications of consumption of these sachet alcohols. We're just talking about it off air. And these things are, it's almost as if you're consuming ethanol. They're not distilled. You know, the health risks outweigh the profit margins from sale and peddling, because that's what it is now, because it's banned. So if you're selling it, you're peddling of this sachet alcohol. So I think there's still a very wide gap. And I think relevant government agencies, the media, the schools, religious settings, and all of that need to do more work in putting out the word out there that this is the situation on ground. These things are dangerous for consumption, and these are the reasons why they are dangerous. We need to educate the people. Because right now, they just think you're taking their livelihood from them.
And I'm even looking, they said they're banning it, but honestly, I can't lie to you, I don't see anything yet.
No, it's everywhere. I saw it on my way here. It's everywhere.
Well, is it just awareness they're doing now, or they have started physical enforcement?
Yes, no.
Because I am still seeing it everywhere.
And I think in the beginning there was physical enforcement, but then it stopped. So now you even have more of them out there selling.
No, but the thing is, it will take a while for it. It's going on. It's like when you're treating malaria, it doesn't just end in one day. It leaves your body gradually and gradually. I think that's how it's going to be. It's like when you haven't pumped water in a while and you pump water, there's brown water first and then
But then shouldn't they start with production? Because they're still producing.
So the production of some of these sachet alcohol are done in a clandestine manner.
Of course.
Have you ever, I know where Nigerian Breweries is, I know where Guinness is. Please, can you tell me where some of these places, these things are manufactured?
Backyards. People's backyards.
I don't even know where they are manufactured.
David, for me, my interest is the biggest disconnect. Today, where do you think the biggest disconnect, in your experience, where do you think the biggest disconnect occurs, takes place? Is it the homes? Is it schools? Is it media messaging even? Or is it the communities? Where?
So, first of all, I want all of us to agree that the way out of this is prevention.
Yes.
That's what I've always said. Now, for me, prevention has 5 cardinal points, right? First of all, the home. I've always reiterated that if we're going to reduce substance use, which includes alcohol use, consumption, to the barest minimum, prevention must start in the home. And then after that, the next line of defense, like I like to call it, is the school. Yes, if we miss it in the homes, the school shouldn't miss it. But unfortunately, right now, what are we experiencing? People who are in schools consuming alcohol, using substances, even in elite schools that you pay millions of naira to send your kids to. And then you find out that they come home with a drug problem. And then we have the media-based prevention. You know, when you take part of your time on air to put out the message that these things are wrong, people listen. You know, people pay attention, and you are contributing to drug abuse prevention. And then religious settings, our pastors, our imams, our alfas, everybody needs to start putting this message in their sermons. You know, you need to put it out there. And of course, the community-based prevention. If you see something, you say something. Why this works abroad, community policing, is because everybody is a part of it. People are used to saying something when something goes wrong. But here you could be driving home, you see a young child, less than an underage child, consuming alcohol. You just turn your face and continue driving because it's not my child. So you failed in community policing. So if we want to get it right, we need to get it right on all of these 5 fronts.
So how early should, conversations about alcohol realistically begin? And what does effective alcohol education look like, in practice? Do we need to scare them?
Okay, so I've always said that effective prevention starts in the womb. I'll explain that. I'll explain that. So once a child is conceived into a home that has peace, stability, no drug use, you have already put in place protective factors that help that child. Study has shown that once a child is born into a chaotic environment where there's...
that's fertile ground.
Yes, that's fertile ground. That child is already predisposed. It's already a risk. It's already a high risk of using substances or consuming alcohol. But the actual conversations now start from the age of 3 to 6. Because they must be age appropriate, they must be not just informative, but conversational. So, for instance, you're having the conversation between 3 and 6. We're not telling a 3-year-old about alcohol. You're telling a 3-year-old about setting boundaries. You're teaching a 3-year-old about obedience. You're teaching a 3-year-old about emotional regulation. Yes, I have 3 daughters, and we're already teaching them some of these things. So if you have a child who is 3 or 4 or 5, and he or she cannot control her emotions, that child is already showing signs of defiance in future. So you have to pay attention. And then you now go to 7 to 10. When a child is 7 to 10, you can actually start educating a child on even prescription medication. So you just don't take paracetamol in front of a child just because the child is watching, and the child is finding out that you're drinking something because something is wrong with you. If you don't educate that child that this is the reason why you're drinking it, and it must be under the guidance, strict guidance, or prescription of the doctor or your parents, then it's a problem.
Please, I need to just, this thing you said, I never saw it before until you said it. And I saw it in a film where this little girl picked up her mom's antidepressants and went to give her friends that my mom says this just takes your fear away and helps you to sleep and relax. And she shared her mother's antidepressant to her friends in school that it would take their fear away. Just because she saw it.
Parenting is huge on different levels. And when we sit on this table and have conversations about parenting, people just think that we're trying to scare them, and young people. Not everybody has businesses being parents. Because being parents is a lifelong work. It's a job description that you have to continue all your life. Because imagine how you're breaking this down. From 0 to 3, you do this. From 7 to 10, and I'm looking at you like, Nigerians, I don't think we have that time to even sit down and dedicate the time that we need. So I like it when you say that the 5 cardinal points, if you miss it at home, the school shouldn't miss it. Because parents are working. And we're outsourcing parenting now to the nannies with, listen, we rarely have enough time on this table.
Well, sorry, permit me to answer the last part of her question.
Please do.
She asked, do we scare them? Please, to everyone watching, don't use scare tactics. I say it everywhere. It doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. So it is counterproductive. Whatever preventive measures you're putting out there must be evidence-based, must be factual, must be conversational.
I don't think Catherine agrees that, it doesn't. No, sometimes it does. It's scare tactics, I feel, scares some children.
Give me an example.
Like what? But you do Calabar?
So you tell them if you drink, you're going to die? That's scare tactics. And then they see some of their faves drinking large bottles and then they are large.
No, not be so.
When
you sit down and you carry your slippers, you carry a stone close to you, and you carry a broom and carry cane. And you sit down and tell your children that, listen, if you want to be mad on the streets, it's not from this family, it's going to happen. Because in this family, we do things like this. But if you refuse to hear what, Life with tissue on it.
Okay, no,
these
so
are the languages.
Aspect.
So this is language
Nigeria.
that Nigerians
I thought you meant like scaring them that if you take this will happen.
No, it's not that. And also,
okay.
nobody has the time. I don't know if parents have the time to be conversing, like you say, let me hold your hand.
But that's intentional parenting. You have to create that time. I wrote a book, having the drug conversations with your children. Do you know it's different?
So people can't even have sex conversations with their children, David.
We just need to.
You know, if we say that these cardinal points you mentioned, and we're able to harness it very, very well, what do we say? Because most of the time, why I focus on the home more is because that's where the children are born, and that's where they grow, and that's where they nurture them. So what more can parents do? Because the influence of the social media too. I see a lot of their faves drinking. It's like
I'm making it look
glamorous.
I just saw myself doing like this. I don't really understand what she is doing. But I won't lie to you, I don't watch music videos in my house.
No, we don't.
I don't. But how do they know? Because one day I was watching,
they have conversing, David. This is a different layered conversation.
I was doing like this.
Lolo is doing certain things. Have you not heard the clock hits them? I don't even know how to.
I just heard that one yesterday.
And then there's the, listen, David, I want to say thank you so much for coming to.
Thank you for having me.
And we hope, on behalf of the ladies and I, we hope to see you again.
Definitely. Thank you
so while we have these conversations, guys, Nigeria continues to navigate the realities of the sachet alcohol ban. As we do this, one thing becomes increasingly clear. Reducing alcohol harm is not just about restricting products. It's about understanding people, behavior, and the support systems that help individuals make healthier choices. Because behind every policy are real lives, real families, and real futures. David, once again, we say thank you. David is the chairman of the Association of Advocates Against Alcohol Harm in Nigeria. He shared his insights and helped us deepen this important conversation. And thank you for starting your morning with us here on Jasiri, where we don't just follow the headlines, we explore what they mean for all of us. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye. Arrivederci.